Hey guys, my name's Sergeant Baby Blue and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'll be discussing Omen vs Brimstone. Now you might be thinking, well isn't it obvious, Omen's better? Well this would be the case, but with the new Valorant episode 2 patch, this has changed as Brimstone has received huge buffs. In today's video I'll be discussing all these buffs and more, and whether you should be picking Omen or Brimstone. So let's get into it. So at the start of episode 2, Omen received some nerfs, so his cost increased from 200 to 400 for his paranoia, and his dark cover projectile speed decreased from 400 to 2800. So that is a big nerf. And then Brimstone receives some buffs, so now he has quick cast, so he's no equip time, so it just goes down instantly. His stim beacon, his molotov, reduced in price from 300 to 200, and his sky smoke range increased from 4,200 to 5,000. His smoke duration also increased from 14.25 to 19.25, so that is a big buff for Brimstone. He also makes no sound when he puts up his little dock, so that's a big buff. So now we've gone over all the buffs and nerfs, I'll be discussing which would probably be better on each map. So right now you've been seeing some Brimstone gameplay. This is on episode 1 act 3, so this is before he got buffed. And back then he was okay on bind, but because of the quick executes. But now he's really good on bind, because on bind you have to execute quickly to the site. So that makes his thing a lot better than it used to be. Whereas on split, it isn't as, you don't have to be as quick. So that makes Omen better on split. But still, I think Brimstone might have the edge on split. It kind of depends on the situation and what team comp you're using, but I would go for him. So the same thing goes for Haven. I think Brimstone would be a lot better on Haven, since Haven is a lot more similar to Bind. And the same with Ascent. I think Omen might be a little bit better on Ascent than Brimstone. Of getting into their playstyles, Brimstone is usually like a sit back sort of agent, so you can't really be too aggressive with Brimstone, whereas Omen is sort of more geared towards like an aggressive controller. So if you have an aggressive playstyle, well then you still might want to be going for Omen rather than Brimstone. Kind of depends on what your playstyle is, so you might have to do a VOD review. Also with Omen's kit, it's more geared towards fragging, so if you're a fragger and you used to use Omen, well then you probably still want to be using Omen, though controllers aren't really meant to be fragging anyway. Now in pistol round, Brimstone is now a lot better since the paranoia price got increased. So before you could buy a ghost, his shrouded step and a paranoia, and you would be set. But now what you can only buy, say like a frenzy and a paranoia, or light armor and paranoia. I still think though the paranoia is one of the best in the game as far as ability wise, so I would still think that paranoia is better than incendiary, especially in the late game situations where price might not be a factor. As far as ultimates go, I would definitely say that Omen's ultimate is better than Brimstone's. Brimstone's ultimate just doesn't seem to get the value out of it, and Omen's ultimate I can, just go into like in the enemy lines and pick them off from there, and it creates a lot more pressure than Brimstone's ultimate, so I would say that Omen's ultimate. As far as the Omen smokes go, Omen smokes, he still gets to have them multiple times around, so he can use his 2 at the start of the round and then use 2 at the end of the round, whereas Brimstone still has just 3 smokes that he can use whenever, and they don't recharge, so that's kind of bad. But at the same time, Brimstone smokes do last way longer after this buff to his smokes, and the ranges obviously got a buff too. As far as Omen smokes, they do last pretty long, but they're not nearly as long as Omen smokes. But Brimstone smokes are still smaller than Omens. Omens can clear out like the top of like the top part of bind and stuff, whereas Brimstones they have like a little part where you can go out and you can see the enemy team, so that might be a problem in some situation. So as far as smokes go, they have their advantages and disadvantages, and it just depends on the situation, and I guess the playstyle comes in again. The fact still remains that with Omen smokes you can see through them, and with Brimstone smokes they're like cloudy. I mean, in my opinion, I think early on Brimstone's a very good choice, especially now after these buffs, but later on in the game you might want to be playing a little bit more Omens when your aim's more confident and everything is just more confident and you know a lot more stuff, because Omen just seems like this beginner agent, whereas Brimstone seems to be like more of the beginner agent, and Omens are quite a lot harder to use than Brimstone. You can see that in the gameplay too. I mean, I started playing Brimstone and then I switched to Omen, as far as my personal experience went. So I think I would say for Omen has more of this, I guess you could say, carry potential out of it, since his kit is more geared towards like aggressive controller plays, so like, you know, flex ninja plays and stuff like that. I mean, you can carry with Brimstone, but as you see in this gameplay, it's quite hard to carry as Brimstone, whereas it's a lot easier to carry as Omen. So in conclusion, I would say that both Brimstone and Omen are very, very good agents. But now after the buffs and nerfs, even still, Omen's very, very good. And I would say you have to kind of review your own playstyle and stuff like that, and some maps Omen will be better and a lot of maps Brimstone will be better, so you have to kind of analyze your playstyle and see which one would suit you better, because I mean, you can probably, you know, go with both and have a very, very successful, like, in your games and stuff. You kind of just have to analyze your gameplay and whatnot. I mean, personally for me, I am an Omen main, but I'm actually thinking I might switch to Brimstone. So that's just my personal opinion and my playstyles and game plan and stuff like that. As far as who's just generally better, I would probably give the edge to Brimstone now. He just seems like a lot better agent after these buffs, and I think a lot more people will be picking him in your games. So I would say go for Brimstone, especially if you're starting off. Brimstones are a lot easier to learn than Omen, and right now I think he's the better agent than Omen. I would say though, on split and maybe Ascent, you might want to be going for Omen rather than Brimstone, since those are some of his best maps. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Both are very, very good agents, and hopefully you have success with both of them and have fun in your games. Like, share, subscribe, and goodbye.